Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel. This is not the typical place that I will film a video on this channel, but it is very appropriate to the story I want to tell you guys. This is my bathroom, and every morning and every night, apart from brushing my teeth, there is something that I do in my bathroom that I have been doing consistently for almost 2 years, and that is putting in my eye drops. So as you can see by the title of this video, I have glaucoma. There are different kinds of glaucoma. Don't ask me what kind of glaucoma I have. I should know, but I don't. So I have 2 sets of drops that I take every day. This little bottle, probably can't see that too well because of the light, but that's okay. It's called Timolol Maleate. This I take twice a day in just my left eye, and this latanoprost I take once a day in both my left and my right eye. So every day for as long as I live. It started in 2005. I was working for an optometrist. I was an optometrist assistant, and every year I'd get my eye exam. Naturally, right? There was no excuse. I'd get my eye exam. So my boss at the time, he noticed that my pressure was a little high. You know, when you go to the eye doctor, they do 2 different, maybe it's changed, but typically you have 2 different machines. You have an autorefractor, and then you have an NCT machine. It's a non-contact tonometer. And what that does, it blows that little puff of air in your eyes that no one likes or enjoys. And if you can be still for it, then chances are there's something wrong with you. But needless to say, my pressure was above 20. It was like around 23, 24. And usually on that particular machine, you want it to be under 20. It is not the most accurate way of getting the pressure in your eye checked, but it does give the doctor an idea of how your pressure is doing. So they usually look for that number to be below 20. So consistently, my pressure on that particular machine was above 20, which led him to check my pressure on a machine that does make contact with your eye. They put numbing drops in your eyes, and he checks it the more accurate way to see if it really is that high. So he would tell me, Patrice, your pressure's a little high. I think we should do a visual field. And a visual field test, for any of those who have not done it, it's pretty much a machine, another torture device, that checks your peripheral vision. The whole matter is checking for signs of glaucoma, usually, and any other eye situations. But primarily, this machine checks your peripheral vision, and your peripheral vision is what is pretty much your side vision, what you can see without directly looking at it. So I did that, and it checks to see, pretty much it gives you like a percentage of what you can see when you look into it. You're usually in a dark room, and they do one eye at a time, and you look into this bright hole, and it shows you little specks of light, and these specks of light vary in degree of how bright they are. So the machine can tell what you should be able to see, and what you can't see by a little clicker. So every time you see that light, you click on the button. So needless to say, this was in 2005, and when everything was kind of showing signs of something being a little off, I asked my boss, I said, okay, well, if I was a regular patient, what would you do? And he told me, I refer you to I will call him Dr. Smith. I will refer you to Dr. Smith, who is an ophthalmologist now. So I said, okay, so let's do that. So I made my appointment for Dr. Smith. I went and I did all of my tests and all of that stuff. And he found that I just had glaucoma in my left eye. And there are things that the doctor can see when they look into your eye. And he noticed that my optic nerve was a little enlarged. The cup size was a little enlarged. So he told me to start this particular medication, and which was the latanoprost. This is it's not the name brand of it. I think it's called Zalatan or something like that. But anyways, he told me to take that, and he told me to take it in both eyes, right? Because he said it's not typical that people get glaucoma in just one eye. So as a preventative measure, take it in my right eye and my left eye. So I started taking these drops, and at the time I was working part-time, maybe in school at that time, I can't remember, but these things were 100. Those drops were about $100. I had another doctor friend who was able to get samples of that, and ever so often he'd give me a sample of the drops, which I was very grateful for. So I take these drops, and I went back for my follow-up some months later. Nothing had changed. My pressure, the drops did take the pressure down. It was more manageable. And Dr. Smith said to me, I can't put a stamp on your foot to say that you have glaucoma. That's all I needed to hear to stop spending $100 on some drops. And he said, I just think it's just the eyes, your left eye is just a little different, and I don't think it really is glaucoma. And all right, thank you. That's all I need. So that was probably like 6 months of taking the drops. I was still working for my boss that saw the issue, and he kept checking it for me. He every 6 months, every year, he'll check it, and he was like, yeah, your cup size still a little bit large, and I think you should be taking the drops, but So needless to say, 2005, every year getting my eyes checked. Fast forward to 2016. By this time, we had already moved from New York, but I went back to New York for something in particular. And when I went back to New York, every time I go back to New York, I usually go back to my old job to get my eyes checked. And one of the doctors that I had worked with and knew my eye situation, he said, you need to be on those drops. That's just what it is. You need to find an ophthalmologist and where you are, and you need to get on those drops. I said, okay, all right, I will look for an ophthalmologist and see what they say and get on those drops. I said, and I asked them, how do I know that it's that bad? And he stood in front of me. It's kind of hard to, I have to open my bathroom door. I'll show you. He stood in front of me, and he was in the room, and he told me to cover one of my eyes. Well, he told me to cover my left eye. And in front of me, he put his arm out, and he started to bring his hand forward. And he said to tell me, when do you see my hand? So testing the right eye is fine, right? So I'm waiting, for his hand. I'm like, yeah, it's right there. And he's like, okay, cover your left eye now. And not my left eye, cover your right eye now. So I covered my right eye, and I'm standing there, and I'm waiting to see his finger. Waiting. Yeah, I see it. And I said, okay, so what's the deal? And he was like, yeah, you were supposed to see this since over here. So I have lost pretty much almost 50% of my peripheral vision in my left eye. My right eye compensates for a lot of that peripheral vision. So if I'm doing the test by myself, this is just to give you an idea. I'll stand this way a little bit. If I cover my left eye and I'm looking straight ahead, so I'm not looking at the camera, and I put my hand out and I start moving, I see my finger when it gets like right here, right? I can see that. from the side of my, even here, yeah, I can see that. Now, if I do that with my left eye, I'm gonna be a little more over this side. I'm gonna cover my right eye, blink a couple times, and I'm gonna look straight ahead. You guys can see my hand. I'll tell you when I see it. Right there. That's when I actually see my finger. So from all the way out here, that's when I see that finger in that left eye. So between 2005, 2016, 11 years, pretty much. I'll even die down a little bit, 10 years without taking drops for my glaucoma that I had. And all it did was just progressively get worse. And when he did that, I could have cried a river. Glaucoma is so sneaky. You don't realize what's happening until it's really far gone. And the only thing I can urge you to do really is to get your eyes checked consistently. Because in 2005, that's 13 years ago, I was 23 turning 24. 23 turning 24. And it's not something you think is going to affect you when you're that young. So that's around an age sometimes where people are not, children or, young adults are not necessarily thinking to go and do those things. You're not thinking, I need to go get my eyes checked this year. But it's so important, it's not expensive to go get your eyes checked. Now you can go to a Walmart, and even if it's a little pricey, if it's 70 something, 80 something dollars, 90 something dollars, that's something for 1 year. We spend money on so many different things. And if I knew for sure that I had glaucoma, I may have more vision in this left eye. But I made it about the financial issue. And I know a lot of times people, you have no choice but to do that. You make it about the financial issue. But at least know what is going on with your eye. So I say all of that to say, go get your eyes checked, y'all. It's well worth it. And if you are in New York City, I know a great doctor that you can go see. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know as well. Don't forget to subscribe and to share. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.